I'm here with Baru Gold CEO Terry Filbert. Welcome, Terry.
Hey, Chen, long time no talk.
So we got a lot of questions from the Metals Investment Forum. Unfortunately, due to technical issues, we didn't have the Q&A. So let's start it with the questions from the audience first. So first is what they are asking about coronavirus. What kind of, if they have any impact to your production plan whatsoever?
Well, they won't let me back in the country, which is probably a bonus. But at the same time, I already have a fully staffed management team there. Before I left and got locked out of the country and also out of Canada, basically I had a COO put in place that's taken probably 6 companies into production in Indonesia. Also already had the HR manager identified, also a great accounting staff. So all the main pieces we needed were in place. So actually, me being there is not going to be a problem. So the coronavirus doesn't really affect us right now. Also, 70% of the people we're hiring will be from the island. So it's actually already in that environment. And the other 30%, most of them are going to be coming from the next island over or in the mainland, North Sulawesi. So we're in an area where we get around pretty easily without having to deal with restrictions.
All right, great. Do you plan to go to the island anytime soon?
As soon as they let me back, you guys in Canada won't let me back. But basically, they've been locked down for about 3 months. They won't let any. They aren't issuing any more visas to foreigners right now until they feel under control, which is good. I mean, it's good for both sides. But at the same time, I'm itching to get back there.
Okay, great. The next question is a little bit about ocean level. One of the investors a little bit concerned if the rise of the ocean level, if have any impact to your island or your mining, or how close you are to the sea level. Maybe put it this way: if there's a hurricane or there's rise of ocean, there any impact to your potential production?
Well, it depends on reports you look at. The reports I looked at that showing with the what they're estimating the ocean rising, it might impact us in 30 years. But the mining site won't be impacted until maybe that time. So no, in the near term, no, that's not going to impact us at all.
Okay, great. That's a peace of mind. So another investor want you to give a little bit more, color on the leach pad. How do you how can you describe it? How do you plan to get that into production?
Oh, they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. I mean, heap leach pads. I can't say enough. Well, basically, you've got 2 piles of dirt. But what you do, you build it in the way where you can basically capture all of the chemicals they're putting through into membranes below. So we have 2 large areas, one large area the size of a football field. We're putting 2 pads on, both 100,000 tons. The reason we have 2 pads is one pad can be torn down, rebuilt while the other one's operating. You always want one operating. So basically, in reality, you only have one pad operating. You have one set of tailing ponds, one gold room. The pumps are one set. But basically, you're not going to be running 200,000 tons at the same time. You could for 1 month, but then you got to tear them down and rebuild. So to keep our equipment moving all the time, it's better just to have it. You have 2 different pads, and that way the equipment's being used at all times. So it's more effective use of our resources.
Oh, great. So on the personal level, you have been building this kind of heap leach pad in Indonesia for a few years before?
Yeah, I had 25,000 tons over in North Sulawesi and Radasutuk. There were 3 pads altogether, but they equal 25,000 tons. So a smaller operation, but again, I invested all the money. I took all the money out. So I didn't have any of these gorgeous shareholders to share with. So but same, there's no difference, just a larger pad. It's the same soil. The same product. Basically, we're on a gold reef that goes from Mindanao down through North Sulawesi. It's a big sea. And right in the middle of that sea is this little island called Sangihe. So right in the middle of it, all of this gold came up to all these areas about 1 million years ago. They're volcanoes. And we have a big collapsed caldera, volcano that blew up, less than 1 million years ago, I guess sometime. I don't remember exactly when. And that's where all the gold is. And it's very shallow. And we're talking, not going down below 180 meters. So in our drilling program, basically it's pretty quick because we don't have to use the diamond rigs. At the same time, we don't have to go very deep. So we can, it's cheaper to drill. Also, it's basically faster to drill.
Oh, great. I heard the large shareholder of the Barrow Gold, he was really impressed with your background. So they were very fortunate to have got you on board. So what made you decide to come to Barrow Gold, or used to be called East Asia?
Well, basically, I was trying to actually buy Sangihe for my own operation, and basically Tocqueville was the largest shareholder at the time, and we discussed this, and I was I was still keen on taking over myself, but they said also they had Miwah, they'd like to fix that, and at the current management wasn't doing what they thought they should do, and they offered me a chance to come on and take over the company. They help back us up. And so I took a punt. I never run a public company. It probably wasn't my best foot forward in the beginning, because it took me a couple years to figure out how this stuff works. But now we've got a great team on board on the marketing side. We're doing well. We've got, I think, a good share structure. We got really good people in all levels. And our CFO is excellent. So both our Vancouver team, which deals more on the public side, and our operations team based in Indonesia are really good. So it's all about people. Any company you have is about people. And we got really good people. Before, I didn't have good public, markets people. And it took me a while to be able to identify them and bring them on. Now I got a great team. So which basically will reflect in the share price. Before, last year, this time we were 3.5 cents a year ago. Mainly because I was telling everyone how great we were. No one was hearing me because they didn't know how to basically communicate it. So I was blinking all the blondes in the dark. And I knew I was there, but they didn't know I was blinking at them. So now our team is great. Now everyone's learning about us. I think it's one of the, you don't have any operations like this where you have, operations happening in just a few months. You have production happening in a few months. Also, you have, drilling happening at the same time. So you're going to have cash flow, and you're going to have basically exploration all going at the same time. So there's not many opportunities like that. And right now, again, we just got the word out. So it's still not a good value. I think people are understanding the value now, but I think it's still a good value to come in now. I think, once we're in full operation, the drilling is going full bore, which is maybe 6 months from now, the value may be full. I'm hoping that time has been fully recognized.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. So we are fortunate to have you on board as a shareholder. How about Miwah? That used to be 1 billion market cap in the last gold boom. So what's your plan with it?
Well, again, one of the reasons that Tocqueville asked me to come into East Asia, now Barrow Gold, is to help fix Miwah. Miwah had basically got the company, as you said, to a 1 billion market cap. But then the management had lots of problems, and they didn't follow through on a lot of promises they made. So they were looking for a new management that actually were living in the area, and I lived in Indonesia, still do, when they let me in. And so, the idea was to bring that back online. I've been meeting with stakeholders, and I met with all the stakeholders before I came back when I got stuck here in the US from COVID. Before I came over, we had a plan, but I can't do this over Zoom. So I have to be back to basically kind of follow up that plan. And since also there were some new regulations released by the federal government, that makes this also a little more interesting too. So we're waiting to see what those details on the federal side that actually may help us. But no, that's actively being worked on. But it's it's a very large project. There's a lot of issues to be dealt with, has to be handled carefully. And so at the same time, I'm looking to get us into cash flow as quickly as possible. And Miwah's a little ways away from cash flow.
Yeah, right. I understand. Well, in terms of cash flow, what's your timeline when you get the gold out, and then what kind of cash flow do you expect, and what's the next plan, next step?
Well, construction should happen. We start breaking ground should happen next month or so. And then basically building the heap leach pads won't take that long. It's not that we will build a heap leach pad. We are planning to have our first gold pour by the end of Q3, which is up to September. So once we have, we're in cash flow, we're fully funded. Our business plan is fully funded. So, we don't need more money to do this. So once we're in cash flow, we'll basically be able to, fund our operations, including the drilling program. The drilling program will be funded out of cash flow also. We're shooting for 1,000 ounces a month, but the first, quarter or so, we'll basically be trying to get our recovery correct. So I doubt we're doing 1,000 ounces a month the first quarter or so, maybe first 2 quarters even. So probably 600. I'm hoping 600 to 900. To be in that area, to be frank. But then it's all free cash flow. Even at today's price, we're probably talking about about $1,000 an ounce about free cash flow.
Can you give us some blue sky? I'm not going to hold you accountable for the number, but we are talking about millions of ounce or gold and
Just on this one area, we're talking about just this 35,000 meter program. We are shooting for 1 million ounces in measured and indicated, but also include oxides and sulfides. So, so basically, that area we hope to basically bring about 1 million ounces onto the books, and that's over a 13-month period. The drilling program will happen, but again, like I said, they'll be using some RC rigs, and probably the deepest hole will be 180 meters. Average be 150. There'll be some just 60. Again, it's a pretty shallow area, so we don't have to drill, that deep. And again, RC rigs move a lot faster than the diamond core.
Oh, okay, great. So your stock has been a lot of volatility lately. When you first announced the permit, the stock shoot up and then drop out. What's going on? Do you have a lot of warrant exercise or?
We've had warrant exercise, but we also have a number of people that bought shares before, and we're expecting. We thought we'd have the license 3 months ago, and then because of COVID, the license was delayed. Okay, we had a bunch of people buying shares. The idea that I think they're going to sell out when the license was announced, and so there was a lot of pent up demand. But at the same time, we did have a lot of. Huge amount of selling. But also a huge amount of buying. I mean, for every one that sold, there was a buyer out there, and the share price stayed flat. It didn't go down. So basically, I guess I'm disappointed it shoots straight up into the stratosphere. At the same time, I'm impressed that it stayed where it stayed. But again, we have a lot of new shareholders, which is great too, because they're going to be the ones that see the benefits over the next few months, and they'll be the winners. I think the gentleman that sold out, they made money too. I think they bought it at a good price and they made money. So I mean, as long as everyone makes money, I'm sure everyone's happy.
Yeah, everybody's winner. So you said next 3 months. Well, looks like a very short period. So what do you expect next 3 months? You have production, you have cash flow, and then drilling.
So that's 6 months. Actually, it's a 6-month window to see the construction, the production, cash flow, and the drilling program start. And we'll start being able to start publishing after a few months. We'll start publishing results on the drilling program. So we'll release those results here every few months. So yeah, you'll see a lot of the news over the next 6 months. I mean, you're not going to find any other program out there like ours where, a lot of guys are trying to show they have gold, much less, pulling it out of the ground and identifying more gold. We have 42,000 hectares. This drilling program, 35,000 meters, is only 10%. This is 90% of the land that has to be explored and drilled. There's a lot more upside, just not the million I blue sky told you. A lot more on top of that.
All right, excellent. Well, as a shareholder, we're fortunate to have you on board. You have so many hands-on experience. You build mine there on that island. You know the people, know the local, familiar with that, and then you basically this is your second and third round of it. And then we wish to see you succeed and see the gold pour in a few months. I
appreciate it. No, we're lucky to have you as a shareholder also. So thank you very much. And we're going to work very hard for you guys and make sure that you do well, on this investment.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.